Hi, friends. Welcome to Pieces Here, the daily series exploring the architects of enough. Today we launch into our new theme, Stewards of the Earth. By carrying forward the wisdom of our first theme, we learn that finding enough requires an inner path of gentleness, truth, and repair, inspired by figures like Fred Rogers and Agnes Martin. Now we turn outward to the earth that sustains us. We dive into the life and wisdom of John Muir, architect of enough. John Muir lived a life of reverent wandering. He walked not for conquest, but for connection, with nature, with stillness, and with something sacred beneath it all. John Muir was born in 1838 in Scotland. His early years were marked by strict religious discipline and grueling farm labor in rural Wisconsin. But as a young man, Muir turned toward the natural world and never looked back. A gifted inventor in his early 20s, Muir experienced a near-blinding accident at a factory job. The experience marked a turning point. He later wrote, "This affliction has driven me to the sweet fields. God has to nearly kill us sometimes to teach us lessons." From that moment on, he chose a life outdoors. In 1867, Muir began walking, sometimes hundreds of miles at a time, with only a small bag of bread, a plant press, and the clothes on his back. His deep, reverent attention to nature made him one of the earliest and most influential voices in the American conservation movement. His writings about Yosemite Valley helped inspire the creation of the U.S. National Park System. Muir founded the Sierra Club in 1892, advocating for wilderness preservation with a blend of scientific observation and spiritual awe. Though celebrated, his legacy is often complex, as his views on indigenous people reflected the racism of his time. This complexity must be recognized even as his environmental impact endures. Toward the end of his life, Muir wrote, "The clearest way into the universe is through a forest wilderness." If you'd like to learn more, one accessible place to start is his short book, My First Summer in the Sierra. The Enough Reflection. Walk the long way. John Muir was not in a hurry. His most famous journeys were not efficient, they were expansive. He walked to understand the land, not to conquer it. He often paused for hours to observe a single flower or followed a stream just to see where it led. This kind of wandering isn't wasteful. It's generous. It makes room for wonder. If your life feels rushed or frayed, try walking the long way home. The peace isn't always at the end of the trail. It might be in the moss beneath your feet. This tip reminds me of one of the Peace Stuff tips from Peace Stuff Enough, the new companion book to One More Year. You can find it and follow the Kickstarter at avasgolfspec.com. Pedro says, when John Muir famously went camping with President Theodore Roosevelt in Yosemite, Roosevelt's men prepared him a plush bed with 40 thick blankets. Muir, by contrast, simply laid down tree boughs and wrapped himself in one piece of canvas from his backpack, demonstrating the ultimate simplicity of the mountaineer. What part of the natural world do I know best? A tree, a hill, a trail? And what might it feel like to slow down long enough to know it better? Words to keep. John Muir was not a man of passive admiration. He didn't just look at nature, he listened to it. One day, as he wandered the Sierra forest that became his spiritual home, he wrote, "The clearest way into the universe is through a forest wilderness." To Muir, forests weren't scenery, they were scripture. They revealed how everything connects, quietly, completely, without asking for anything in return. If this daily message has brought you peace, please take a moment to subscribe and share this episode with someone who needs it. That was the life and wisdom of our architect of enough for this episode. If their story has inspired you to seek your own path to less consumption and more contentment, then please step off the treadmill with me. Let's learn from the architects of enough and discover together that for our planet, for our community, and for ourselves, peace is here. To follow my work, including the new book, Peace Stuff Enough, the entire Pedro the Water Dog Saves the Planet series, and the podcast archive, visit avaskalfsbeck.com. That's also where you can find the link to my current Kickstarter. Our music is Dalai Lama Riding a Bike by the talented Javier Peque Rodriguez. You can find links to his music on Spotify and Bandcamp in the show notes. Thank you again. Listen for the peace.